Well, hello everybody out there in Atlanta. This is Chris from HLLegacy.com with another exciting episode of Topher's Vlog. Sorry I didn't get a chance to do a video last week. I was on vacation and just didn't have time to shoot a video. Forgive me, I'm suffering from like the tail end of a cold. I think I've got some chest congestion stuff going on. It is what it is. I know it's going around. It is that time. Florida's weather is all over the place. It's either cold or, like it was 90 degrees one day the other day, and then today or yesterday it was like 40 degrees, between the temperatures. So everything's all wacky here in the state of Florida, as it usually is. But, the weather this time of year is very schizophrenic. But nevertheless, we're going to move on. So I'm actually kind of glad this topic, this came up this week because, it's something that is interesting to talk about, and also kind of funny to talk about, because it's a notion that sends doom and gloom amongst, all the Hornites, faithful out there. It is what it is. You're not going to convince anybody otherwise. So, it is what it is. But, so there was an article that came out, last week, where it was confirmed that the Walking Dead attraction would be closing. We already knew it was closing, but they set the closing date, which was March 4th. So the Walking Dead attraction out in Hollywood is going to be closing on March 4th. There was a little piece, and there was a nugget of information at the end of that article where the person that they were talking to said that they looked forward to the Walking Dead being an integral part of Halloween Horror Nights as a maze this year. It's weird because like the way that, it just kind of came at the end of the article, it was so like such a passing thing, and it just set off a firestorm because it did a couple things. One, if indeed the Walking Dead comes to Hollywood as a brand new maze, they sort of spilled the beans in March. They sort of gave, so if Hollywood again has 9 houses, or excuse me, mazes, they call them mazes out there, 9 mazes, then The Walking Dead will be one of them. It's kind of funny that it sort of did that in one aspect. The other aspect sort of brings a whole can of worms, here to Orlando, because like if that is the case, let's play this side of the coin first. Let's say that they were they spilled the beans early, and The Walking Dead is going to be coming as a brand new maze out there in Hollywood. What does that mean for Orlando? Does that mean that The Walking Dead will return to Universal Orlando and Halloween Horror Nights for the 30th anniversary? A couple things to unpack there. Let's say, like I said, let's say that it does come to Orlando as a new house. People will not be on board with that. It's just that people will just not appreciate The Walking Dead coming back. I mean, like, everyone hates the fact that not just that The Walking Dead was here, but that The Walking Dead was here for 5 years. So The Walking Dead had a presence at Halloween Horror Nights for 5 years. It never left Hollywood because it was always, they always had the attraction out there. So even during the event, which is why the wording in the article is a little, I don't want to say telling, but interesting, because it specifically said maze, not necessarily the attraction, because one of the lines of thinking is that the attraction, which will close on March 4th, will just reopen again in the fall for Halloween Horror Nights. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because I know they're trying to revamp that whole area to Secret Life of Pets. So I don't know why they would close the attraction in March and then just reopen it again in the fall. Why not just keep it open and then close it after Halloween Horror Nights? I don't know. Maybe they're trying to save money. It wouldn't surprise me if they just kind of take the signage away and they just leave everything inside and then revamp the outside. And then if they're going to go that way, and then, open it up again in the fall, that could work, I guess. But it just still doesn't make any sense that they would close it and then reopen it again in the fall. I don't know. Maybe they just, gut the space and then literally do a new maze in the space. And just use it as a space for Halloween Horror Nights. Use it as a new house location or maze location for Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, with an all new, brand new Walking Dead maze. That could work. But like I was starting to say, when it comes to Orlando, you're gonna run into a lot of resistance. Sorry about the people upstairs. There's some kind of a party or something going on with a bunch of kids, and there's a dog, and there's a lot of people running around. But anyway, so you're gonna run into a lot of resistance here in Orlando. Even on Hollywood, I'm not sure. Like, I know that the attraction was popular, I guess. But I don't know if the Hollywood people would really want a new Walking Dead maze. I don't know. I think they might have been fine with the attraction because that was just a permanent thing anyway. And it wasn't like last year. They actually considered the attraction like they counted as part of one of the mazes. To my knowledge, they didn't used to do that. It was just like, here are the mazes, and then the Walking Dead attraction is open, so you could do that during the event. But last year they physically counted it amongst its house count or its maze count. So maybe that was just kind of a prep work for this year. Just kind of greasing the pole, as it were, to ease people in for this year. I don't know. But again, for here in Orlando, you're going to run into a lot of resistance. And I get it because, it was here for 5 years. A lot of people just don't didn't like the houses that they did. I with my video a couple weeks ago where I did my least favorite houses of all time, that first Walking Dead house I put on that list because, it not only was it a bad house, but it also kind of set the tone, set the precedent for what would eventually become 5 years of The Walking Dead at the event. And I don't think they were ever really able to recover from that. I think that, I did say, I think that they had 3 solid houses and 2 not so good houses in the 5 years that they did do the property. But that being said, especially amongst the diehards, The Walking Dead just doesn't sit well with the diehards. Let's talk a little bit about this being an anniversary year, because it would not surprise me if The Walking Dead, in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a house, a scare zone, some kind of mashup of different IP properties, whatever, it wouldn't surprise me if The Walking Dead had some kind of presence at Halloween Horror Nights 30, because it is an anniversary year and we are kind of celebrating, what had come before. And like it or not, The Walking Dead was a big part of the event. The Walking Dead was it was there for 5 years. Whether you like the houses or not, it was there for 5 years, so it was a big part of the event. So if something like that does occur, it would not surprise me if it does. Because it is kind of that vibe where we're celebrating and going back and reminiscing and remembering and stuff like that. And it was a big part of the event. It wouldn't surprise me if it does show up in some way, shape, or form. I am not so sure that they would pull the trigger on an actual house. I know that the show is still on the air, and AMC is kind of all in on this for whatever reason. they're just kind of going full steam ahead. This show could be on the air for 20 years and its spinoffs and whatever else they're doing. I know they're doing the Rick Grimes movie or whatever is the case, whatever that. I don't know if it's a TV movie or it's going to be in the actual theaters, but they're doing that whole Rick Grimes thing. I stopped watching the show in the 3rd season, so I have not, I don't know, I've really caught up or kept up with the scuttlebutt of the thing. I just know that they're kind of all in on this, and AMC is going to milk The Walking Dead for all it's worth. I don't know how popular the show is anymore, because a lot of people forget that when The Walking Dead first came to the event, especially the first 3 or 4 years, first 3 years really, The Walking Dead was a very popular show. It was a very popular show, almost equivalent to what Stranger Things was or is currently, and was when Stranger Things even first came 2 years ago. Was a very popular show. I don't know how popular the show is anymore, so I don't know if really branding the event with The Walking Dead like they used to in the past, or using it as one of these anchor IPs, I don't know how successful that will be, because I don't have a real gauge on how popular the show is anymore. It is still on the air. People still watch the show. People still like the show, I guess. And like I said, AMC's all in on the show, so they can, who knows? I mean, going back to that first house, like I said, they had a lot of restrictions at the time. Maybe they've sort of lifted those restrictions a little bit, and they could do a little bit more with the characters and stuff like that this time around. If they were to go back and maybe renegotiate some kind of a deal to bring it back for the anniversary, I don't know. All I know is that if this was to occur, this is going to be very interesting to follow, because I don't know. Well, let's not kid ourselves. People will not like this, and you know, let's say we talked a little bit about the whole Billie Eilish situation before. You know, if you like I said, it doesn't bother me, but if you were, and even The Walking Dead, bringing The Walking Dead back doesn't bother me either. But I know that the fandom will not like it, and you know, the question is do you not care? Do you just go ahead and do it anyway, just to test the waters, you know, to see how people react to it? And like I said, and I've said in the past, I don't care what the property is, as long as the house is good and you do it well, it doesn't bother me, you know. Same thing with the whole Billie Eilish stuff, because I know people are hating on that as well. It just doesn't bother me. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. If this actually does occur, it will be interesting to see and experience the sort of backlash that could come from this. I wouldn't be worried too much. It's impossible to know whether they just mean, you know, closing the attraction down and then reopening it in the fall, or if it just means a whole new maze. Because the wording in the article does mention, you know, in so many terms or so many words, you know, new maze being at the event in the fall. So. So that to me indicates that they're sort of going to do a new maze out there. Do a new maze, you know, and feature The Walking Dead. You know, and then of course what does that mean for Orlando? Does that mean Orlando is also going to get it? Because like I said, if you buy that part of it, if you buy that wording where it basically means that there's going to be a new Walking Dead maze out there featured at the event in the fall, you know, does that mean that it's going to come here to Orlando? More than likely, based on in the past. Again, if we're going to take that wording as what it is, yes. That means it'll be featured in some way, shape, or form here in Orlando, whether that's a new house or, like I said, a mashup or whatever. I think that if they were to do some kind of I mentioned this earlier, you know, some kind of a mashup of the different properties they've had in the past. The different IPs to sort of celebrate the whole IP era of Horror Nights, which again would be controversial because the diehards hate it anyway. If they were to celebrate, you know, that, I think that could work. You know, as opposed to doing a whole, you know, house, a whole new Walking Dead house. You know, it is what it is. I don't know. But if they were to do a whole house, it's going to be a very interesting. Oh man, that would be not good, especially going into anniversary year too. I mean, like, you know, it's anniversary year, it's supposed to be fun and stuff. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting couple of months. Also, but again, it's kind of funny because if this was somebody spilling the beans on accident, then they did it in March in a random article about the attraction closing. You know, so I don't know. It is what it is. But I don't think people need to worry too much. I think that for Orlando, I don't think people need to worry. Even Hollywood, I don't think people need to worry too much. But it is what it is. But anyway, that's gonna be it for me, guys. So yeah, so The Walking Dead. I already know the answer to this question. I know nobody wants The Walking Dead to come back, but what do you guys think? The Walking Dead was to come back. Oh Lord. Anyway. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'll talk to you guys probably next week. Might be busy again. Sorry. I've been trying to do these like I did last week, once a week, but things are getting in the way. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, I will talk to you guys soon.